In 1996, the over 1.8 million acre Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument was created. Bears Ears National Monument came about in 2016 at over 1.3 million acres. At the end of last year, however, it was announced that both monuments would be substantially downsized, potentially opening areas to other uses, including recreation. Soon after that announcement, the Bureau of Land Management entered its scoping period to determine how best to use these newly unlocked regions before creating official preferred land access plans.
Scoping is part of the National Environmental Policy Act process, and we have scoping at the beginning of that process. It's an opportunity for the public to provide input to the agencies. The agencies use that information in developing alternatives and then in developing the environmental impact analysis.
The scoping period is the best time for the public to make comments on how we think the land should be used. Once the scoping process ends, the BLM will create their alternative management plans, and at that point, the majority of the decisions will have already been made. So what types of comments is the BLM looking for, and how can you make sure your opinion has the impact that it should?
Comments are most effective when they're solution-oriented, when they're clear, and when they're concise. The NEPA process is not a voting process, and so comments that merely express support or opposition for a project don't necessarily help the agency. What we would encourage people to do is provide information on specific issues or concerns that they have, as well as alternatives that they would like to see considered within the environmental analysis.
So, for example, if a trail you enjoy leads to an overlook in a specific area and you would like it to remain open, you would want to give clear directions, describe the value of retaining motorized access, and how that access would improve public enjoyment of the land. Conversely, if you think an area should be closed to motorized recreation for environmental protection, you must give legitimate evidence of damage. It isn't enough to make personal claims or merely speculate. Now, you may ask yourself if these comments actually do any good one way or the other. The answer?
Yes, the comments do affect the agency's decision-making process, and they do affect the development of these land use plans. Agencies actually have a legal responsibility to involve communities early in the NEPA process and to review those comments and to take into consideration citizens' comments and concerns.
And your time to make comments is just about up. You only have a few days left to have an impact on either the Grand Staircase or Bears Ears.
For the National Monument planning processes, scoping was initiated on January 16th, and the scoping period closes for the Bears Ears National Monument Management Plan on April 11th. It closes for the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument Plan and for the lands that are now excluded from the monument on April 13th.
So now is the time to comment on these plans, and you can do so through email, directly at the BLM website, or even a standard postal service letter. After the 11th and the 13th, the agency will move on to the next phase of planning, and it will be too late to make individual contributions. If these areas are important to you and your family, commenting now is the best way to ensure you still have access to them once the dust settles on the new plans.
Citizen involvement is the most important part of the NEPA process. If you go to the BLM's website, www.blm.gov/Utah, there is a direct link to the planning pages for these projects and an explanation as to how you can make comments. Please submit comments because it helps us as an agency develop plans and make sound management decisions for public lands.
And you can be part of those decisions if you act fast enough. From the trailhead, I'm Milia Stringham.